Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call to order the regular city commission meeting for Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Will you please have a roll call?
Commissioner Drosky.
Here.
Commissioner Hudak.
Here.
Commissioner Cornez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Preston.
Here.
Mayor Vance.
Here. And before I have everyone stand for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance, I'd like to turn it over to Vice Mayor Preston. So he has a couple of passings that have happened here in the city of Deerfield Beach that hopefully we can remember in our moment of silence. Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I really appreciate the moment. I'd like to say to my colleagues and the residents of Deerfield Beach, there are some noted residents here from Deerfield Beach that need to be remembered. The first one is Bill Tree Wright. He was called Tree as a part of a nickname because he was so tall, 6'7". But he worked for Deerfield Beach for 26 years and will be remembered for his humor and his contribution as a firefighter. I had the pleasure of working with Bill. He was our chef for many, many times, and just a tremendous person. Gave up himself, and he served this city honorably. The next person is Orrin Scott, and Orrin Scott, for many, many years, he was the commentator for the Packer Rattlers games. He called all of the games, always volunteering and trying to do as much as he could for our children and for his community. I'm very proud of the city of Deerfield Beach, and Orrin was born and raised here, and he's going to be tremendously missed. As I said, just always volunteering. The next person is Mr. Charlie Thompson. Some of my colleagues here may remember him. He used to just sit there in the audience, a very, small by stature person, but big in his heart and his love for the city of Deerfield Beach. Always going to everything that was happening in Deerfield Beach, no matter where it was. Mr. Thompson was there. He's just an unbelievable soul and an example for us all when you think of what it is to commit yourself to your city. The high school football games, whether it was a city commission meeting, whether it was a Little League event, he was always there. Mr. Thompson was a mainstay in Deerfield and will be tremendously missed. And the last is Major Robert Jackson. I had the pleasure of working with Major Jackson. You know that we have a park in Deerfield Beach named for the first Black police officer, which was Mayor Howard. But Major Robert Jackson was also a part of the police department in Deerfield Beach. He was an African American and rose to the rank of right under chief. He was the highest ranking Black officer in the city. He was a major. He recently passed away. He's going to be missed. And I ran calls with Major Jackson and was a guy that, again, just like all the ones that I've named prior, just loved the city of Deerfield Beach, gave of themselves. And all of our residents should know that when we have these kinds of people in our city that did contribute, that did serve, in our moment of silence, please pray for their families as we continue to go ahead. Thank you so much, Mayor. Greatly appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We'll have a moment of silence and our pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. If we could have approval of the city commission meeting minutes for the regular city commission meeting of January 4th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Parnas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The acknowledgement of our city board meeting minutes for code compliance meeting of July 28th, August 10th, August 25th, September 7th, and September 22nd, all of 2021.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Parnas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, approval of our agenda for February 1st, 2022.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hudak. I'll take that as a second from Commissioner Parnas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk.
For members of the public wishing to provide comments during tonight's meeting, 3 minutes will be provided. However, 1 additional minute will be granted by you in advance. Anyone connected online using video must cover the mouse at the bottom of the screen and click the participant's sound. On the right, click raise hand. You will be recognized by your profile name and your audio will be unmuted. Those participating via mobile or landline, dial *9 to raise your hand. You will be recognized by the last 3 digits of your number. You may dial *6 if necessary to unmute. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tonight, and I have multiple stacks, as you can see, because this is a project that we had so many volunteers, not just from city staff, but from the community to come out and participate. In April of 2021, the City of Deerfield Beach was awarded with Broward NPO's first Tactical Urbanism Quick Build Grant, known as B-Tactical. This grant was designed to identify roadways in Broward County that could be improved for safety, connectivity, and accessibility. The project was a collaboration of both the city, the county, and the Broward NPO, and staff there utilizing design professionals from Street Plans who provided their services as part of this grant. In addition, the city was able to obtain a $20,000 grant from AARP. The combined efforts of these public agencies incorporated all of the input from the public and local stakeholders, such as North Broward Regional Hospital, Tedder Elementary School, Tedder Homeowners Association, the nonprofit group Fruitful Field, and local churches to create a temporary design to determine if traffic calming and personal safety along this roadway would be improved. During the week of December 6, 2022, over 80 volunteers and staff contributed to transforming Northeast 3rd Avenue to what it is today. Over the next 6 months, this roadway will be monitored to determine the permanent changes to continue to make Northeast 3rd Avenue a safer street. The point of this was to do something temporary to determine whether or not changes need to be made that would be permanent in the future. And to have the ability to do this, to be the first in Broward County to do this, is tremendous. And we couldn't have done it without our volunteers. So please join us in recognizing those volunteers who help make the Tedder community and the city of Deerfield Beach a better place to live. Commissioner Hudak, I think you did a tremendous job in leading this. I want to thank you. As I'm going to name everybody who I believe is here. I will not pass these out to you just yet, because you can see there's a large stack over there for all of the volunteers. But there are many people that are here tonight, so I'm going to quickly go through a few names. Samantha Gilliard, Heather Montemayor, Danielle Shinetsky, Todd Drosky, Tom Plout, Eric Power, Bonnie Jacobson, Jenna Lane, Dave Hunt, Jesus Fuentes, Alan Brissois, Michael Hudak, Vanilla Wyatt, Jonathan Salas, Rebecca Medina, Stephanie Garcia, Benjamin Restrepo, Bazel Qureshi, Carrie McNeil, and Christina Fink. If those of you who are here tonight, please stand. and come to the front. We want to thank each and every one of you, all of you. All the hard work. Jay, you're supposed to be in this picture. Thank you very much. And while I mentioned many of the civilians and our city staff participated, there were so many from BSO that participated in this as well. Lieutenant Marilla Quigley, Lieutenant Montgomery, Sergeant Adkins, that is gives somebody a promotion, Deputy Spear, Deputy Gomez, Deputy Rivera, Deputy LaMonica, Deputy Rossman, Deputy Anderson, Deputy Kirby, Deputy Stevenson, Deputy Barry, Deputy Bishop, Stephanie Blue, and Alonda Baptiste. Thank you all from BSO and our BSO family who participated. There are many more that participated. Mr. Drosky said we're all going out afterwards for dinner. I want to thank each and every one of you. Also tonight, we would like to have a proclamation here recognizing February 2022 as American Heart Month. Heart disease kills over 650,000 Americans a year, which is the highest cause of death, higher than all forms of cancer combined. Heart disease occurs when the arteries leading to the heart become clogged. It affects all ages, genders, and ethnicities. Risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, and excessive alcohol use. American Heart Month was established by President Lyndon B. Johnson under Presidential Proclamation 3566 in December of 1963, 10 days after Congress issued a joint resolution requesting the President to issue an annual proclamation. American Heart Month is observed to raise awareness on the importance of a healthy heart and encourage healthy habits that help reduce the risk of heart disease. Red flags such as high blood pressure should be taken very seriously, and healthy habits should be adopted, like getting 30 minutes of exercise every day and talking with your doctor to develop healthy eating habits that promote heart health. The first Friday in February is National Wear Red Day in the United States, which falls on February 4th, 2022, on Friday. It's your chance to raise awareness by staying active and fit, eating healthy, and watching your weight, all while wearing your favorite red outfit. The City of Deerfield Beach urges the community to join the battle against heart disease. So now, therefore, I, Bill Gans, the mayor of the City of Deerfield Beach, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim February 2022 as American Heart Month. Is there anyone from American Heart Association here tonight?
Good evening. Hi, this is Deputy Mayor Jacqueline Guzman from the City of Sunrise. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. Sorry that my camera is off. I'm currently in the hospital with kidney issues, and it's ironic that 10 years ago, I was at the same hospital for 2 heart attacks that I survived, which is why I am a huge advocate for the American Heart Association. And I thank you for doing this proclamation, because I believe in awareness and making sure that everyone listens to their body and gets checked out. Because I didn't listen to my body, I almost died, but I'm thankful to be alive, to be able to share my story and advocate for others. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Guzman, for being here, and we wish you the best of health.
You ready, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, Anthony Soroka, City Attorney, for the record. We are now on item number 3 of the agenda. Item number 3 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, considering the plat application submitted by 7-Eleven Inc. to amend the plat note for the 0.88 acre site located at 1200 West Hillsborough Boulevard within the B2 Business Highway Zoning District to limit development to a convenience store with 8 fueling stations, application number 21-P-231, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. And I believe, does the applicant have a representative here?
Yes.
Ms. DeVoe, you can come on up. You do have, the applicant does have a right to a more formal quasi-judicial proceeding, calling witnesses, cross-examining, etc. Or you can waive that right and we can proceed with the more informal proceeding. So after stating your name and address for the record, if you could just let me know whether the applicant waives the quasi-judicial procedure. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, good evening, Commissioners, and Joe, planner for 301 East Atlantic Boulevard, Pompano Beach, Florida. 33060.
Thank you. If you would like, while you're at the mic, you can remove the mask.
Thank you.
It's easier for you.
And yes, I do waive.
Please present the right.
Yes, thank you. Tonight before you is an application request on behalf of 7-Eleven 34801. It's a plat note application, plat note amendment application to amend the restrictive note of the plat from a restrictive note of 5,000 square feet and 16 fueling stations to positions to a convenience store with 8 positions. The store is located at 1200 West Hillsborough Boulevard in Deerfield Beach. It is located, it's located on the corner, southwest corner of West Hillsborough Boulevard and Southwest 12th Avenue.
What boulevard?
The applicant is, like I said, seeking to amend the restrictive note from 5,000 square feet and 16 fueling positions to the former note of a convenience store and 8 fueling positions. Now, the applicant is seeking the refund of a bond that was required by Broward County that's associated with off-site improvements for the new construction. So in short, basically the store is in its current state and it remains as is. The applicant did decide not to scrape and rebuild the site. Therefore, the site is remaining as is. So we're requesting that you approve the plat note amendment as stated.
Mr. City Attorney, can you give us some guidance on this? So if I'm understanding, the applicant is not making any changes to that parcel at all.
That is correct.
It's going to stay exactly in the condition it's in.
That is correct.
Is there a reason why?
They just decided not to move forward with the rebuild, the demolition and rebuilding of the site.
Okay. Is this procedural? Do we have the ability to reject this?
So it's procedural in that if it meets all of the code requirements, you should approve it.
Yeah.
My understanding is this was the original note. They amended it to potentially provide for more fueling stations. They're no longer proceeding with that and they're going back to the original note. I'm going to suspect because the county requires you to pay when they bond, probably for the full amount that you can build under the plat.
That is correct.
So they're doing this, even though in other words, they don't need necessarily the plat note amendment to keep it as is. They're doing it, to get the refund, is my understanding. You can correct me if anything's different.
That is absolutely correct.
Is there any outstanding code violations for appearance or anything on this location? Mr. Power?
Power Director of Underground Services. No, sir, not at this time.
Thank you. Commission, you have any comments before it opens to the public? Okay, I'm open to the public. Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Okay, I see, I'm gonna go and close it to the public. Commissioner Drosky, you have your hand raised?
I do, just so I understand, Mayor, would you prefer those sitting on the dais to raise our hand electronically or use the buttons on the?
It doesn't matter. I'm having to look at all of it at once. I'm probably gonna do a half-ass job at all of it, so just do whatever. you
I'll
want.
just push every button. I
That
can.
sounds great. Yes.
Before I get into my comments, there's the disclosure affidavit from Keith and Associates, which I don't think is it's in the backup page 252 of 433, and I'm not 100% sure it's accurate. So I'm just going to say what I think, and then because I didn't go back and research it, but it said in 2016 there was a donation to me for $500. And that was all. I ran for office, or I was elected in 2017. And it is very well possible I received in 2016 because my campaign started in 2016 and did carry over into 2017. So it is possible that it was in 2016 and not 2017 for the $500, but I also thought there was an additional $500 from Keith and Associates after that. I could be wrong, but that's what my memory tends to think. So I want to disclose that as well, that there may be an additional campaign contribution from my 2016-17 campaign that's not on here. And then likewise in 2020, they have me listed for $500. I really didn't have a campaign to speak of in 20. I wasn't up for election 2020. I was in 2021. And I don't recall anything in 2020. I mean, it's possible. It's all on my campaign finance reports, which are online, but I just wanted to say I don't recall that, but they disclosed it. So I'm just trying to, for transparency purposes, just recollect what I remember versus what they put on the paper here. As far as the application tonight goes, this is the gas station at the southwest corner by Jim Moran and Hillsborough Boulevard, correct? And we approved the redevelopment, I guess, of this site from the 8 pumps to the 16 pumps. Now they want to go back to the 8 pumps the way that it was. And the mayor was asking, why? And your answer was they just don't want to.
They just decided not to move forward with the rebuild of the site.
And my understanding from the mayor's question to city attorney, this is ministerial, and if they meet code, this is pretty much a perfunctory exercise on our behalf, which is disappointing, but I guess it is what it is. That's my comment.
To my point, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that choosing to do this. This is a blight in that area. We have a brand new apartment right behind them. We have the Wawa across from it. And we have obviously what has happened to JM. And on this corner, we have this facility that we're excited about making changes. It's private property. They're willing to do that. The condition of that building is in comparison to the city of Deerfield Beach. So it's disappointing these owners chose to go this path and refuse to do anything to improve what I consider to be a blighted gas station in this area. Okay,
Thank you. I will convey those concerns.
I'm sure they'll do it so. We have a motion from Commissioner Hudak to approve. Yes, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, go right ahead.
Pursuant to ordinance 2009-006, Deerfield Beach Code of Ethics, the following campaign contributions were made since 2018 by the applicant's representative Keith. Commissioner Hudak received $250 on October 3rd, 2018, and February 28th, 2019. Commissioner Drosky received $500 on January 11th, 2021. Commissioner Parnas received $500 on February 1st, 2021. And just for the record, the ordinance only requires them to disclose 4 years for their contribution. So anything before 2018 should have not been listed on that form. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Hudak. Do we have a second?
Second,
We second from Vice Mayor Preston. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Preston,
yes,
Mayor Gantz.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item number 4 on the agenda is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 222 Cemeteries of the City Code of Ordinances to revise and update the cemetery provisions, providing for codification, severability, conflicts, and an effective date. This is second reading.
Thank you. City Manager, would like to make some comments before we move forward?
Absolutely, Mayor. Just to recap, this ordinance accompanied a resolution on the last time around to update the fee schedule. The ordinance was a requirement to make the fees passage through resolution. There is that's the second reading of the ordinance. Full presentation was provided to the public on 2 occasions, as well as to each city commissioner, and then again at the presentation for the first reading. So I can address any additional questions that the public or the commission may have.
Okay, thank you. Commission, any comments before we open to the public? All right, I'm going to open to the public. Anyone from the public care comment on this item? Not seeing any. Is anyone written in, Madam Clerk? Okay, I'm going to close this to the public then. Commission?
Bill,
Yes, Commissioner Parnas.
I think at the last reading, we made a wonderful compromise in how we're going to handle the increases, and I fully support them. It gives those who want to immediately purchase a plot can, without it being too much of a burden to the public. And I will suggest that we move forward with this, and I will propose to move on this motion,
Would
to
you like
make
to
a
make the
motion
motion?
to approve.
Would you like to make the motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner. We have a second from Commissioner Hudak. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Preston,
yes,
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 5 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending the rules and regulations for Deerfield Beach Memorial Cemetery and Pineview Cemetery to limit future cemetery plot sales to residents and the family members of the deceased that are currently buried in city cemeteries, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Any other comments on this before we open to the public?
If I may, Mayor, just the reason for this item is the city commission made the decision to restrict the cemeteries to residents only. And reviewing that and how that would work, it was determined that it would be customary and appropriate to allow for residents, their family members, and the family members of those already interned to have the ability to be buried there. So that's how it does read. I wanted to clarify that just for the commission, as the direction was resident only at the last meeting. And hopefully that's acceptable.
If you could say that again, the definition is?
Residents, their immediate family members, and the immediate family members of those already interned.
So when you say immediate family members, nothing, child, spouse.
Correct. It is defined as the children, the brothers, sisters. Family members must provide the children, the grandchildren, grandparents, legal guardians, siblings, spouse, and domestic partner.
Okay.
It's a relatively well-used definition of immediate family member.
Can I ask a question? What is the percentage of people that are considered non-residents with that description of what residents are that actually apply for plots in the city of Deerfield Beach?
Non-residents make up about 20%.
20%. Okay. Thank you for that. Is there anyone from the public that care to comment on the side? Madam Clerk, can you look at it? Okay, I'm gonna close it to public. Commission,
Motion to approve.
Second,
a motion from Commissioner Parnas, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
We are now at the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes unless extended for 1 additional minute by the mayor. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on the agenda. If you have public comment on an item that's on the agenda, the time to make that comment is after the agenda item is read into the record and the public comment period is open. And as a reminder, no comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibilities shall be permitted.
Is there anyone from the public that care to comment? Do you have anyone that's written in on for? Okay. I see anyone here. I get one.
There you go.
Pardon? Oh, come on up then.
It's Peggy Ross, 103 Northeast 19th Avenue, Deerfield Beach, already love it. As always, I still love Deerfield Beach. My favorite place to be. Having the 7-Eleven people here, I was just curious. I thought they were supposed to, on the S curve, do some renovating and fixing up there, like starting 2 years ago. I assume COVID stopped it, but there's still no signs of anything. Because the S curve is kind of shabby looking these days with all the empty buildings, but you will be able to order your Mexican, and they say February 14th. I put my order in. And thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? I'm going to close it to the public. Was that the same? I know those are sometimes franchised. Wasn't sure if that was.
It's a different location. I believe that one is corporate owned by 7-Eleven, corporate owned. The one on the S curve, to be clear.
One on the S curve, I believe the one on Sample or corporate owned, this one is different.
Yeah, the one we reviewed tonight, I'm not positive. I don't know if Mr. Howard knows about the one we reviewed. I know the one on the S curve is corporate owned, not franchise.
I believe they are both corporate owned. Not to get into too much detail, but 7-Eleven has essentially stopped development for many projects, not just in Deerfield Beach, but throughout South Florida. So we're just dealing with the same situation that they dealt with in the last couple of years.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready to move on to the next item?
Yes.
Okay, item number 6 on the agenda is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, appointing Pamela Cantor as an alternate member to the Community Appearance Board, providing for an effective date.
Any comments from the commission before we open this up to the public?
Well, I'll make a comment. I recommended Ms. Cantor because she has spent many years working with arborists. And I think that may be lacking in the Community Appearance Board. She's going in as an alternate, but her years of experience in landscaping and what makes things look nice, I think would be a welcome addition. It's one of the reasons I asked her to serve, is because she brings a different view to the Community Appearance Board, an area that at the meetings I attended, I felt were lacking in an overview. And I hope it'll make the city prettier and more pleasant on new projects. So I ask for your support in placing her on this committee.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Parnas. Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Not seeing anything, I'll close it to the public. Commission.
Motion to approve?
second,
To the motion, Commissioner Parnas, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay, items 7 through 10 are on tonight's consent agenda.
Is there, Commission, is there any items you'd like to pull, 7, 8, 9, or 10?
Yes.
What would you like to pull?
Raise my hand.
That's okay, just talk.
9.
9. Okay, anyone else? Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on either 7, 8, 9, or 10? That word isn't written in. Is there anyone in the audience and no one online? So with the commission, what we can do is we can go ahead and approve 7, 8, and 10 together. And then we can come back and address number 9. If that's what the commission.
Motion to approve,
Is that a motion for 7, 8, and 10?
7, 8, and 10.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion from Commissioner Parnas, seconded by Commissioner Hudak. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
and Mayor Dan.
Yes.
Item number 9 is a resolution of the City Commission, City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the second amendment to the contract with Sulfuric Acid Trading Company, Inc. for sulfuric acid 93% to provide for a price increase, authorizing execution of the amendment, providing for implementation, conflicts, and effective date.
Commissioner Drosky?
Thank you, Mayor. I pulled this item not because I object or oppose it, because I do not, but to bring to my colleagues' attention the drastic price in chemicals and other items that the water treatment plant uses and environmental services. You can see how drastic this has gone up. And this is basically to tee up an item, you know, that I'm bringing to the public's attention and to your attention if you haven't had meetings with staff already, that we're going to be asked to increase water rates in the city. And one of the reasons why is because our income, if so to speak, is not meeting the expenses. And this is one of the reasons why the prices have gone out of control. And basically not the general fund, but the fund from the water is subsidizing the water rates here in the city. So we're going to be asked at a future meeting to increase those rates. And here's one perfect example why. And so I just wanted to kind of tee it up that, you know, so it's not a surprise to anybody in the future, but everything is going up and our rates are not keeping pace. So we'll have a deeper, much vigorous discussion, I think, at our March meeting. But for the time being, I just wanted to tee it up that this is one of the reasons why.
To your point specifically, it's going from $162.50 per short ton to $249.11 per short ton. That's just the reality of the world. Okay. Commissioner Hudak?
We're also going to be asked to changing the method that we use in order to purify our water, going to an ion process as opposed to using these chemicals, which are less, they don't do as good a job as the new process. So, and that's going to cost us a lot of money as well. But this is very old technology, and I know that we'll be asking to move to much newer technology that makes our water even more drinkable. So yeah, there are some tough decisions that we're going to be faced with in the near future. And it's good that you brought this up because the public does need to understand some of the decisions we're going to have to make. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commission before I open to the public? All right, not seeing anyone from the public. Excuse me, Commissioner Parnas, go right ahead.
yeah, I noticed today that gas prices went up 20 cents a gallon in a very short period of time to 25 cents a gallon. I saw even on Hillsborough Boulevard, $2.53 a gallon. It was $2.19 a very short time ago. I don't blame the government, since all indicators is that the economy is doing well. I look at this, that the people, most chemicals are made from petroleum. It's called price gouging because they can. And the public is the one picking up the tab. I hope this will end where the government will step in and do something about it. But this is still a free society and they can charge what they want. Your choice, don't use the product. We can't change certain systems right now, so we will have to pay the price. And if that means in the near future, raising the price on various things that we haven't in a while, so be it. But I think the cause is companies just looking to grab what they can get away with. And the public be damned.
Thank you, Commissioner Parnas. Not seeing anyone else from the public, I'm going to close it to the public commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hudak, second by Commissioner Grosky. All in favor say, excuse me, let's do roll call on this, please.
Commissioner Grossi,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
No,
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Councilman Preston,
Yes.
and Mayor Nance.
Yes. Just for procedural, Mr. Attorney,
Yes, sir.
I believe because there's dollar amounts associated with number 10, possibly even number 8. Did we need to do a roll call on that?
I believe you did a roll call,
Did we do a
though.
roll call?
Yeah, you
Okay, just want
You
to
did
make
it right
sure I
there.
did. Okay, thank you. On to number 11.
Item 11 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, adopting an amendment to the city budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2022, approving supplemental appropriations and budget transfers to various city funds and reducing appropriations to the Disaster Recovery Initiative Grant Fund by $180,000 and the 2000 Bond Fund by $91,160 as set forth in the attached Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date. This is first reading.
Andrew?
Mayor, this is the city's mid-year budget amendment, and we have had the opportunity to speak with each commissioner individually and provide a presentation on the purpose of this amendment. Additionally, we did hold a public workshop to explain this to the public and address any questions that they may have. Admittedly, no one was interested in our budget amendment, unfortunately, but here we are today to present that presentation again. I have Ms. Tinsley. Here she is. I have Ms. Tinsley to provide a presentation on the mid-year budget amendment, if it so pleases the commission.
Sure, absolutely.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Tinsley. I'm the CFO of City of Deerfield Beach. And I'm here to give you an update and a request for the FY 2022 budget amendment. And so the purpose of this amendment is twofold. One is to recognize the carry forwards that we, for goods and services and capital projects that continue into FY 2022, but were obligated in FY 2021. Also, we've done the fiscal year end 2021 reconciliation, and we need to recognize the goods and services that were already received in advance in 2021, and therefore need to amend the budget by reducing it slightly. And also we have a couple of newly emergent needs, and I will be addressing those going forward. So for the general fund, we are making or requesting a revision of $737,000. That revision includes approximately $127,000 for carry forwards related primarily to continuing capital outlay improvement projects and architectural engineering services for those various projects. Also, that 737 includes the transfer to a new capital project fund of $610,000. Again, related to projects that are, will be budgeted and or budgeted into the capital project fund and will be funded with the general fund unassigned fund balance. And so on the next slide, I go into a little bit more detail of the capital projects fund, what's those funds used for. So the 610,000 is to account for the carry forwards related to a vehicle that was encumbered in or obligated, I should say, in FY 2021, but was yet to be received. And so we're receiving it in 2022, so we have to move that appropriation forward into 2022. Also, some ongoing concession stand roof repairs, as well as approximately $95,000, as well as some, again, reconciliations that we did at the end of the fiscal year, where there were a number of items that were actually received in 21 that was anticipated to be received in 22. So the net result is approximately 160,000. And then also the primary adjustment is related to the south wedding deck repair and replacement. That was a new emergent need that occurred as we were putting together this budget amendment. And so we are proposing to include this in the amendment to the budget so that we can get that repaired. And that's at $450,000. Again, using unassigned fund balance in the general fund, and we are well above the minimum requirements per the policy. So we have the capacity to use that amount. Okay. So the next slide relates to what we call special revenue funds. These are funds that the receipts of revenue is restricted, legally restricted for a particular use. So the first one, the Road and Bridge Fund, about 152,000 of that relates to basic carry forwards of capital projects that are budgeted within that fund. It acts as a capital fund specifically for that revenue stream, which is a surtax. In addition, we added in the 11th hour, $740,000 of budget appropriation requests related to two projects that were already approved to be used with the surtax funding through the ILA. And so that was the Fowl Research Boulevard and the Pioneer Grove. The cost estimates came in well above what was projected, I believe, a few years back. And so the costs for construction have gone up. And so we're including that in. The Road and Bridge Fund has almost $2 million in unreserved fund balance. And so this is perfectly appropriate to be used for that project. And I did confer with our auditors just in case. And they said it was absolutely appropriate to use those reserves in the Road and Bridge Fund for already approved projects through that ILA. The remaining or the next 5 funds, the nuisance abatement, Deerfield Beach PAL, crime prevention, car seat trust, and PAL donation relates to the law enforcement trust funds in general, that they are part of that grouping. In meeting with our new public safety officer, Mr. Brimlow, as well as the BSO and Sheriff Chief Hofstein and others as in part of the group, we discussed their needs for the FY 2022 budget, the standings of these funds. And so basically the gist is if they were in place when we were putting together the FY 2022, this would have been a request. And so these funds are all funded with either their specific reserve funding that's in their budget, in their funds, or anticipated revenue streams that are coming in. In particular, the car seat trust fund of $5,968 is a fund that there wasn't a lot of line of sight to that fund, and so we see that there was a little bit of fund balance left. Adam is going to tie that in to finish using that up, and then once that's used up, we can finalize the reconciliation of that fund and close it out. So the more we close out some of these little funds, the more we can be efficient with closing out year end. And then finally, the Disaster Recovery Initiative grant that was anticipated, again, to have the goods and or services related to this grant received in FY 2022. Instead, it was actually received in 2021, thereby we're reducing the budget amendment, the actual budget by that amount that was already received. Okay. And so with the bond funds, the 2000 bonds, again, similar as the other negative or reduction in budget appropriation. The goods and or services were related to that, were received in 2021, so we're just adjusting it down. Again, this is just to ensure that there is no overspend, things like that, that we are keeping a tight rein on and an eye on the expenditures and the related appropriation. So with 2018 bond fund, even though we did not have a roaring crowd at the public hearing, several folks actually watched it. We recorded it and we just put it out on our website, and several folks did actually viewed it. And an old friend of Deerfield Beach actually reached out to me and had a question about the bond fund for 2018, and so I'll address it here along with going over it. So we have the team, we reconciled the 2018 bond proceeds just for the capital improvement piece of it, which was $33.1 million. The actual total bond proceeds was $42.1 million. So of that $42.1 million, $4.24 million was used to retire old debt. So the 2006 bonds that were refunded. And then also an additional piece of it, 4.34, was used to pay the first couple of years of debt service for this bond. So it was the capitalized interest fund, and that was what that was used for. So that was approximately $8.6 million in bond funds. So that's already taken care of, already a done deal. We already retired did the refunding, and we already have started paying on this bond starting in 2019 and in 2020, or the very end of 2019 and 2020. So the only piece that we are concerned about right now is the piece that relates to the capital improvements, which is the $33.1 million. So we did a full reconciliation, and based on the proceeds that are supposed to be for the capital improvement projects, less the actual spend through FY 2021 is $5.5 million, less the amount that's already appropriated for FY 2022, which is $22.3 million, leaves bond proceeds that have not been appropriated at almost $5.3 million. And this just helps to reconcile what are the appropriate amounts for each one of the projects that were already approved for this to be in the budget, fully appropriated And then we will then carry it forward as part of the budget adoption process. So we can have good line of sight to the spend down of those bonds, or the bond proceeds. Okay, so going forward, we should see much less in way of budget amendment, much smaller amounts, because we'll be starting the new budget year with the right amounts, and then it'll just be the tweaking, and like we've done with some of these areas. And going forward to the enterprise funds. So the stormwater fund, again, just a carry forward of 2 projects, the master plan and the stormwater lining at 229,000. And then the water and sewer renewal replacement, as we've discussed in our one-on-ones, the 2.8 is a transfer of the ARP, or the American Rescue Plan funding, for the wastewater treatment plant chlorine conversion. That was a project that was approved by the commission. And because of general accounting standard principles, we need to be more efficient for us to recognize those expenditures within the water and wastewater fund. So, so therefore, we're going to have the funding follow where we must recognize the expense. Okay. So we do have the ARP fund, but we will be reporting it over into the capital fund for the water and sewer fund. And with that, if there are any questions, if the public has any questions, if not now, later, my contact information is up on the screen, and they can contact me at any time. I have an open door policy and have offered multitude of times for people to come and see me or give me a call to talk through this process.
I'm sure it's hard for people to visit you to comment on this that don't live in the state anymore, so I'm sure it must be tricky.
Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions?
Did you answer all the questions that we had from the public regarding this?
Yes, that was it. It was
Did
just
they appear to be satisfied?
they appear to be satisfied. I got
Perfect.
yeah, but they were I think the term used was refreshing, to see that we are attempting to continue to do the reconciliations and be more transparent in this process.
Perfect.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the public who care to comment on this item? Come on up.
Thank you, Ross, 103 Northeast Avenue. It's just a question. What is the south wedding deck? Where is it?
Okay. Is that the only question you have?
Yeah.
Okay. It is the deck that's located behind the Embassy Suites and on the furthest south
Okay, the one
portion of our
that's
beach.
like waiting for wood or something?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the
Thank you.
one that seemed like a minor repair and it's turned into a giant ordeal. Yeah. Commission, any other, well, I'm sorry, anyone else from the public? Not seeing anyone, close it to the public. Okay, commission? I'm sorry. Oh, okay, we'll reopen it to the public now again. Ms. Clark, Reed, go right ahead.
Thank you. Gwendolyn Clark, Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way. Mayor, I just wanted to ask about the amount that was not appropriated in the bond. Is that money that's allotted, that's left over for another possible project?
Is that your question?
Yes, that's my question.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public? We'll go ahead and close that. City manager?
To address the question, the bond proceeds that were brought forward in this budget amendment are reserved for the projects that the bond was intended for. However, as I've been saying, I think it's prudent to just hold off a bit on the City Hall renovation project until we see the Tigner Center and the Center for Active Aging come a little bit further down the road in terms of construction. I do have concerns about rising construction costs.
Thank you. Hopefully that answered the question. Commission? Commissioner Parnas?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a second from Vice Mayor Preston. The motion was made by Commissioner Parnas. Your roll call, please.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Mia,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
and Mayor Nance.
Yes.
Okay, we are now at comments by administration and legal. I have no comments for tonight, so I'll turn it over to Matt.
Thank you. I just have a few comments for this evening. First, I want to just provide the City Commission with an update on COVID. Our protocols are still the same as they have been for through this Omicron variant. But the numbers are looking much more positive. And as I suspected, as quickly as they rose, they seem to be falling almost at the same pace, a little bit slower. But back on, we did start to see the Omicron variant really take a stronghold on South Florida, and Florida in particular, just around the time of the holidays. It was December 17th where the numbers really started to jump and continued to jump, doubling in most cases, until it seems to have reached its peak for the week of January 7th. The latest report released by the Department of Health shows that the number of cases for the last week ending January 21st was about 198,000. So we're certainly seeing a decrease, and at this pace, we'll probably be back down to tolerable levels within the next couple of weeks. Keep in mind that the numbers that we get are always in arrears. So, and I say that specifically as it relates to, and I think it's important that I speak about the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And unfortunately, the very last thing that, of course, I wanted to do was to have a cancellation of a major holiday, a very sacred one here in the city of Deerfield Beach 2 years in a row. But when we looked at not only the numbers with the Department of Health, which at the time showed the very, very peak of this Omicron variant uptick, which was that 430,000 cases in 1 week. We looked at other factors as well. And to me, it's always been a matter of, at this point in the pandemic, it can't just be about the number of cases. It's got to be more about what does it look like within our hospital districts? What is the resources that are being used up from that perspective? Because at the end of the day, this has always been about public health and the strain on the healthcare system. So in consultation with some folks at Broward Health System, they hadn't made the recommendation to me that this was probably not the best timing to do any type of outdoor event that could be substantial in size. We also had input from the African American Heritage Board, who does provide recommendations on our MLK event, who also concurred that based on the data that this was not in the best interest and the timing was just not correct. And of course, I conferred with staff as well. So these decisions are not made in a vacuum, they're not made lightly. They're made, I really held off for as long as I possibly could to make that decision. Again, very difficult one to make, but one that I thought was necessitated by the fact of what the current situation was and in the best interest of the public, but also equally important, what was in the best interest of city staff who would be working this event. Considering the fact that if we were to have a major outbreak at this event, and we did have contamination of all the staff, it could have serious constraints on city operations and crucial city operations. So that's why that decision was made. It was a very difficult one to make, but one that I thought was required at the time. We also did cancel our Festival of the Arts. So in general, all of our events in January were canceled. But we're hoping, again, based on the fact that we can see steady decline of the Omicron variant, that we'll be able to host our events coming up in February. We have worked with the Cultural Committee to move the Festival of the Arts in conjunction with Pioneer Days, which is currently still planned, as well as our Black Heritage Banquet, which would be there at the end of February, on February 26th. So hopefully we can move on with our event schedule, but of course we will watch the data and listen to the experts whenever we're making our decisions. And those are all the updates that I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now on City Commission business. Item number 12 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the First Amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding with Broward County and other participating municipalities regarding collaborative study and subsequent development of an integrated solid waste and recycling system attached as Exhibit A, authorizing execution, authorizing the expenditure of up to $24,966.37 as the city's contribution to procure the study, providing for conflicts, severability, and providing an effective date. I'm prepared to give an overview of this item, but I know Commissioner Drosky sponsored it, so I don't want to steal his thunder if he prefers to do it.
Commissioner Drosky.
I don't know what the city attorney was going to say, so
I was just going to give an overview of the item before you.
I'll start and you jump in.
Fair enough.
How about that? I'll do the Clip Notes version and you can give the details if you like. So just some quick background. In 2019, the county and the cities formed this solid waste working group, of which I'm the delegate to, and it has over time been marinating on the county's recycling and solid waste goals going forward. As you know, there's only one player in town, and so that's not going to last forever, especially with Mount Trashmore. And what options do the municipalities have going forward, which are very limited at the moment? So the suggestion is to undergo a study, which will be capped at $1 million. The county has agreed to cover the first 50% of it, or 50% of the amount, and then the remaining 50% would be picked up by the cities according to population. So based upon the table and the backup, our population, Deerfield's amount to the 500,000 would be $24,966.37. You may recall in last year's budget, we budgeted 40,000 for this particular item. So we are under budget, and this would be a maximum amount. It's 24,966.37. The more cities that participate, potentially this number could go lower, but they need 90% participation of the cities to make this work. So the study really encompasses 5 areas: project planning and preparation, number 1, solid waste regeneration study, the types of materials, the waste composition, and the recycling composition. Those are the 5 areas that it would undertake. This is on a county-wide regional basis, and it would take about a year to compile and put this study together. It's something that is needed. It's a lot of information to make this work for all 31 of our sister cities to understand what their role and what the options are going forward. So this is just the opportunity to go forward to put the data together, but it's going to take a group effort. And so our share, like I said, is the 24, almost 25,000 to participate, to get the data. And then a year from now, we'll get that study, and we have some hard decisions to make potentially going forward. You know, Deerfield's outlook on this is not the same as our sister cities, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because you need the data first to make that decision. And so I don't know what else the city attorney wants to add to that, but it's a necessary step to at least get the data going forward.
I have nothing to add. I think you comprehensively covered it.
Just-
City manager,
just-
he has some corrections for his comments.
No, he did just fine. However, I do want to say that included in this, when they do the study, they will be coming into the city. They're actually going to be going to all the haulers. Since we are our own hauler, they'll be coming to us. They'll be doing ride-alongs. They're going to be checking weights on some of our garbage trucks. I believe we've come away with a parting gift of a certain weighing device for our trucks. So there's that. But so there will be that component of that to this, and I think that's actually to our benefit. We'll be able to get a little bit of data for our operation as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Vice Mayor Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank Commissioner Drosky for bringing this forward. This study will actually provide some measure of visions upon which some very important decisions can be made that could actually keep the city out of a crisis mode. We know the situation and we all know it in depth, and there needs to be some options, and we need to be thinking about those things now. When the study comes back, there'll be a few things that obviously will be clear, but taking a look at this now will provide the city with some options. And it keeps us from, as I said, operating from a panic position or with few options. We will have the most information available upon which intelligent decisions can be made. So thank you, Commissioner Drosky.
I do want to echo that as far as Commissioner Drosky stepping to the plate for us and being representative on this. This is time consuming, as it is with all of the boards that any of us serve on. And I think Commissioner Drosky is certainly, he's on his fair share of them. This is an extremely important one for the city of Deerfield Beach. I think it's money well spent. I am fully supportive. Anyone from the public care to comment on this item? All right, we'll close it to the public then. Looking for a vote. Commissioner Parnas, you're waving at me? Hi.
Yeah, I am waving at you. And I want everybody to think of the following. We're running out of room. Pretty soon, Mount Trashmore, whatever name you want to call it, is going to be filled. Right now, our particular garbage goes almost up to Orlando. Where will it be when that one gets filled up? We have to find a solution to what do we do with our garbage? If we have no more land and we have to ship it further and further away, you can imagine the price is going to go up. Since there's only one player in town, I applaud Commissioner Drotsky and the city for taking a forward look. What other options can be done? And working with 30 other cities to find a solution for the future is one of the most progressive things I've seen in the county in years. Because we all realize that we have a problem and it needs to get solved. Because we're dealing with a monopoly. There's only one person in the garbage business in Broward County for us, and that's Waste Management. And the price and each contract will continually go up until we don't know what we're going to do with the garbage. So a solution needs to be found, and this information will give us options to various solutions, like building our own plant to burn it, to get rid of it, to zap it, to do something with it other than keep paying one company to cart it away and put it in the landfill. So I think, again, I applaud you, Todd, for your efforts in this area. It's needed. It's something the city desperately needs. We need options. because the future is going to smack us right in the face before we turn around. And then it's an emergency. I don't like emergencies. I like well thought out plans better. And you've taken the step by joining this committee and giving us a path to solving this problem. And I applaud you for that. And with that, I'll recommend approval of it.
Thank
I'll make
you.
a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Parnas. Before we get a second, Commissioner Grosky, do you want to speak?
I do, and I appreciate the comments from my colleagues. They are certainly not solicited and not deserving. I do this out of my heart for Deerfield Beach. I'm a resident just like you and like everyone else watching this meeting, so I don't do this for any other reason than to help my own community. But the comment that I want to make, and yes, you are correct, Commissioner Parnas, the purpose of the study is to give us options. But the reason that I raised my hand to speak again is because as far as I am concerned, one of the options, which is never an option to me, is raising the height limit of Mount Trashmore. It's capped at 215 feet now, and I make a friendly bet with everybody in this room and online right now that there will be a proposal one day to raise that limit. And we need to be, and that's one purpose of this study, is to prevent that from happening. I just, my spidey senses tell me that day is coming. It may not be soon, but it will happen. Guarantee me and mark my words tonight. And so we need to go through this study and see what the options are, not raising that height limit for the dump. That's all.
Thank you.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second now from Commissioner Grosky. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes,
and Mayor Dan.
Yes.
We are now at comments by mayor and city commission.
Okay, I'm start with District 4.
Let's keep going. I only have three things tonight. When I spoke earlier, one thing I just want to add a little bit. When I spoke earlier about to tee up the water rates, which are coming at a future meeting, one of the things to think about is, the rates have not been raised in about a decade. So that's one thing to consider going forward as to why we're a little behind the 8 ball when it comes to our expenses, because the rates have not been raised, and there's reasons why, and we'll get into those. But I just want to make that point: is I don't want to have that conversation in a vacuum to think that, oh, all of a sudden we're just raising our rates out of nowhere. Well, no, one, because expenses have gone up, as you saw by the chemicals that we approved tonight. In addition to that, rates have not gone up likewise in about a decade. So keep that in mind. I wanted to clarify that going forward. Secondly, we have a meeting, I believe, on March 15th, which is a Tuesday. The National League of Cities, of which I'm the member to, is meeting in Washington, DC. And depending on what COVID situation looks at the time, that's the annual trip that I would like to take, assuming it's safe to do so.
What is that date?
March 15th. And so I'm asking, not tonight, because I don't like to add things that aren't on the agenda, but maybe if we can add it to a February agenda to consider moving that March 15 date either up to Monday the 14th or back to Wednesday the 16th to accommodate the National League of Cities event. Because I may not be the only commissioner that wants to attend, but city manager, if we could take that into consideration. And then third and last is this Saturday, February 5th, is my first of the month office hours from 10 to noon. You can sign up with me directly or with the city manager's office, and those are, because of the COVID situation, still are not in person, but by telephone, or be happy to by Zoom. I know a couple appointments are already booked, so get them while they're still available. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. District 3.
District 3?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to talk about a business in Todd's district across the street from mine, Total Medical. And I want to thank Eric Powers in the city. They steered him in the right direction. I know we have one free testing site in the city. Now we have 2. Total Medical, and behind Total Medical, has set up a free testing site. I was tested there on Wednesday, and Friday received the results from the Board of Health, which these tests are reported to that I was negative. Anybody can go there and get tested. Just bring your insurance card, your Medicaid card. There's no co-payment and there's no cost. You drive up, you stay right in your car. You drive behind the store, get tested and go home. You'll be notified. You fill out half a sheet of paper with your email, name and address, and you get tested. This is a public service. He applied through the city. They put him in touch with the Board of Health. He got approved and he's operating. So those of you who live in the west part of Deerfield Beach and want to get tested, they're on Hillsborough Boulevard, just west of Military Trail. You don't need an appointment. Second, it's difficult to hold in-person meetings due to the virus that's running around. Please wear your masks when you leave home. A friend of ours just lost her 31-year-old daughter with 2 kids to COVID-19, the new one. She was put on a ventilator, removed, died of a heart attack at 31 years old. The cause of death, technically the heart attack caused by COVID-19. They even had her in a coma for 2 weeks while she was on the ventilator. When they took it off, a miracle happened. She woke up, said, "I love you" to her parents, and died of a heart attack. Please wear your masks. If you read the paper, thousands are infected every day in Florida, and many die. This is not a joke. This is serious, very serious. If you love your family and your friends and your neighbors, take the precaution, every precaution you can, because it can be deadly. And we like to keep you around for a while. People at Deerfield are nice people. So again, I ask you, play it safe for you, your loved ones, and your neighbors. By the way, there's such a backup of deaths in Florida that the funeral had to wait 3 weeks for her to be buried because of all the deaths caused by the virus. There's a backup at funeral homes. Take that for what it's worth.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say that on the 26th of this month, which is a Saturday, the Black Heritage Banquet right now is on, and hopefully we don't have any real big outbreaks that will cancel that event, but it would be the 26th of this month, the Black Heritage Banquet. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of the items. First of all, we had asked, it wasn't last commission, it was the commission meeting before that, the Pioneer Park boat ramp. Where are we at with construction on that? I was there this weekend and it looks exactly the same. Maybe it's just my eyes, but it looks exactly the same. So I was just curious if we can get some kind of an update on where we are at with the construction of the Pioneer Park boat ramp.
Hi, good evening. Priscilla Segelman, Director for Environmental Services. We're very close. We're still securing final permits. We had prior review for a few things that we were missing. So we've added those things to further comments. And now we should be very close to having a permit in hand. Once the permit is in hand, the barge can be released to begin the work. So we're very close, but we're still waiting on final permits.
Is it government close, like within the next fiscal year? Is
No,
it-
no, we're not on government time, we're actually on private time. I'm gonna anticipate within 2 weeks, you're gonna hear some very, very good news.
All right.
So I should have a media release coming out shortly to notify the public on the imminent closure of that ramp.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate the follow-up. February 12th is usually District 1's office meetings. I will not be in town on February 12th, so we will have to postpone that. But you can still get a hold of me via email or reach me via phone if you have any challenges that you need to reach out to me for. So I appreciate that. A couple of weeks ago, myself, city manager, as well as John Salas, traveled on up to Tallahassee. We went up there for an event called Broward Days. What will happen is each year, a lot of cities in the county of Broward send representatives up to Tallahassee in order to meet with our state representatives as well as our county commissioners and fellow representatives from fellow cities to request funding, as well as just continually make relationships. As Commissioner Drosky said earlier, we'll be going to Washington DC in March, and that's with the National League of Cities. So one of the things that we do up here on the dais for the city of Deerfield Beach is promote the city of Deerfield Beach to other elected officials, other state organizations, so that we can get funding for some of the projects that we want in our city to make our city a better place. Some of the fundings that we look to get secured in this budget year is one of them was for the Northeast Focal Point. We're looking to secure about $286,000 so that we can go ahead and move forward with the construction costs. Another one is for the Deerfield Beach Aquatic Center, the storm water project. That parking lot floods tremendously, and it adversely affects the surrounding neighborhood as well. One of them, of course, we're all well aware of is 8th Avenue. So, and we were asking for, I think $600,000, $600,000 for that project as well. So by going up there, building relationships with these individuals and making sure that Deerfield Beach is well represented gives us a better opportunity in order to secure those funds. While we were up there, I received a text that unfortunately there was another suicide on our railway. And so another of those projects that I've personally asked for funds for is to extend the fence that we have that ends at Southwest 10th Street and to continue to Sample Road. It's a very sad situation. And again, you're not going to prevent suicide, but maybe you'll have someone who doesn't make a rash decision to jump in front of a train if there's a fence there. So that was one of the things that I was a proponent of. Another thing that I was a proponent of, and this is something that affects all of our coastal community more than it does, communities in the West, is the short-term rentals. They're extremely adversely affecting our neighborhoods. My next door neighbor is a short-term rental. The two homes behind me are short-term rentals. So I understand the challenges that all of you face. I face it just as much as you do. And unfortunately, there's very little that the city can do. I don't have the figures in front of me, but I think there's about 141 properties that are registered as short-term rentals here in the city of Deerfield Beach. I'm sure there's twice as many as that are not registered. So this is a challenge that has been facing our city for a long time, and it's only getting worse. And so, again, my commitment was to go on up there. I had some letters from some of our residents that I brought up with me and personally handed our state representative so that it can see that it's, this is serious stuff and it is adversely affecting our community. So we'll see what we can do with that. We'll continue fighting for that. So I just wanted to bring some of those things to our residents' attention. Thank you very much. Sorry for being a little long.
No, that's okay. Thank you very much. You did cover something I wanted to bring up on Pioneer Park. Thank you for the update. I just want to make sure that we make that safe and secure as possible, not just with the boat ramp, but we need to make sure that that park in general. I'm going to ask staff to continue to be vigilant and making sure the appearance of that park, as well as our beach area, is kept up to snuff. Because every time I'm down by the beach, I am disappointed with the behavior of people that are down there, and I really feel that we can do a better job than what we're doing. Speaking of jobs being done, I do want to praise BSO for their excellent work. We've had a lot of incidents here the past week, really 2 weeks. You guys have done a fantastic job. What I am disappointed with is the internet creates such a fantastic rumor mill that you see the most ridiculous things I've ever seen posted, and continue to be posted, going out through the entire area over for the incidents we had, in which BSO did a fantastic job of trailing some suspects that were suspected of doing some burglaries in Broward County, and they happened to decide to make an appearance at Deerfield Beach, and Deerfield Beach was ready for them, or really BSO was. And there's a lot of misinformation in the heat of things. That's why we try not to put out too much information while things are happening. I learned my lesson many years ago to not call the chief in the middle of helicopters being up, and let them do their job and make sure the information happens in real time. We have people that do listen to scanners, they get their information crossed, and then we have a lot of really stupid people on the internet who, quite frankly, that take things beyond what they really are. And then I just think it becomes a game of telephone at that point. But I do want to thank PSO for their hard work, which they've done, keeping our people safe. There's still more work to do because there's a lot of speeders out there, especially on Hillsborough. So anything we can do on that. But it's hard to get information out to people that's accurate at times, especially when it's happening in the moment. But I ask people to not rely on the internet as being their source of information. It's just really a lot of misinformation, and sometimes it's easier just to pick up the phone and call any of your elected officials to find out what's going on with BSO in the moment. I do want to remind staff that I need a schedule as far as repairing the artwork that we have on the fire station on the beach. It was the artwork was altered when we had a roof repair, and I need a time frame as far as when's that going to be repaired. It was brought to my attention by someone who's associated with the artist who donated the mural, I believe. So we need to go ahead and work on that. I do want to thank Rebecca Medina and her staff for doing an outstanding job with our new City Deerfield Beach website. That's a large labor of love. I don't know if it was loved all the time, but if they were loving it all the time, but they did a fantastic job. So I really want to thank her and her staff for the hard work on that. And city manager, they did a great job. So thank you for that with the website. I've heard nothing but good things regarding it. Smart Assets, which is a financial technology advisor group that has a prominent website, listed the city of Deerfield Beach as number 20 in the United States for the most affordable beach towns in the state or in the country. So that's a nice recognition. We were actually ranked number 27 in 2020. So for 2021, we moved to number 20. So that's always good to hear. And let me see if I have anything else. One of the people who passed away that the Vice Mayor brought up, Charlie Thompson. Having sat up here for a long time, you get to see a lot of fascinating and fantastic people. And Charlie Thompson, the smartest thing you could do when you walk in the room where he was at is try to make sure you got a seat next to him. Quiet man, but when he did speak, he was a walking history lesson in the city of Deerfield Beach. A wonderfully charming, engaging, kind, and thoughtful man. And he was the guy that shook the hands of every single one of those Deerfield Beach High School players when they ran out on the field. Every game while he was helping. He was beyond a mascot. He was someone they just thought the world of. And we all did. So Charlie, Mr. Thompson, very sorry to hear of your passing and wish you Godspeed. That's all I have.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. Motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Be well, everybody.
You too.
Mr. Moran, how are you, sir?
Sure. Just give me a minute.
You're gonna tee it up.
Well, my dear.
You drove it.
It's stuck, so I need
Sure we can, that works.
Telephone.
I bet Todd and Nickel. would do
I'll
that
go in
every
Zoom.
night.
It's right.
Likewise, thanks for having me.
Your residence way off. Yes. Thank you.
Not gonna disappoint me, you're gonna have a Valentine's pie, aren't you, for Valentine's Day?
I look, put on all the Valentine's Day, my wife.
But no, I just meant that when the time comes, you always count on
Sure.
you to have a season appropriate.
Was there not
Sorry, I missed your text message. I was looking at my phone, but, yes, thankfully I had that email from today from the contractor, so it looks like they've scheduled some so we're ready to put together. I'm trying to get all the details. We don't have to.
Was fire given crap?
Yeah, we had to put 6 new fire suppression devices out there. Yes. Had to sign it because Rod Burma wouldn't do it for me. It's okay, we got this in there.